What's up? Do you wish you had more relationships or better relationships, or you just had an easier time, meeting people or, finding that deep connection with people? Today in Luck, we're going to talk about how to build relationships, the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Danny. Here, my buddy Randy. What's up, Randy?
Yo, Danny.
Did you ever struggle to build relationships?
Oh, totally. I still do. I spent the first 40 years of my life focusing on the financial success aspect of life, only to realize that people who, in the later years of their life, who are most satisfied are the people who have built good relationships.
Hmm.
So I kind of need to change the direction that I was going. But yeah, it's a struggle a lot of times because like the paradox of relationships is that they need to rupture and repair. So like in
Hmm.
order to build good relationships, they need to fall apart and then come back together. And that's the worst part because when you're falling apart, you're like, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't this relationship thing work? Yeah.
It's funny too, because I think a lot of people too, like, when you're younger, it's so easy to find people to hang out with and friends because nobody has really responsibilities. You have a lot of free time. But then as you get older too, most people lose like a lot of their relationships because it is hard to maintain that. It takes time and people do different things that have different priorities. So yeah, I think it's difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Eh,
I mean, like,
Important.
look at it. When you're going to school, you're in the same grade with people all your same age. There's no hierarchy. There's the teacher who's like the
Yeah.
king or whatever, the queen. But otherwise, there's no hierarchy. But like there are the older grades, but you don't spend time with them aside from like recess
Yeah.
or on the bus or
Well,
something
and
like
even
that.
in
So
college, you're taking similar majors and stuff. There's stuff to connect on very easily, right? Whereas,
yeah,
get
but
older,
then you
it's
get
not
to
so
the
hard.
workplace and it's just like a mishmash of everybody all together. And then you have these hierarchies, social,
Yeah.
monetary, all these different things. And it makes it a bit more challenging.
Bunch of BS gets in the way. Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, we each have some tips. Hopefully they'll help
Yeah. Now that we made everybody totally depressed, let's get
before
into
we go on. Yeah. There's still hope, hopefully. We'll see what happens.
it.
All right. So my first one is, I think, fairly obvious, but difficult, which is communicate. This is one of the hardest things too, I think, is like, you know, I notice myself, like when I feel like, if I'm feeling something or I've had a bad day or whatever, I think it's only me. But the reality is like most people can empathize. Most people have gone through something similar, if not something pretty much identical. And like communicating that to people is a great way to open up and start a relationship because it shows your vulnerability and also gives them a way to help you, which is a great way to like actually engage, especially with somebody like you have like a relationship with already a little bit. It can help build a relationship. And that honesty, I think, really helps kind of, opens the door for them to share. It opens the door for both of you to kind of help each other with your problems and just, it strengthens the relationship a lot by actually just communicating how you're doing, what's going on, and listening to them when they communicate how they're doing, what's going on.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, people love to feel helpful, and if you
Yeah,
can let somebody feel helpful, they're gonna love you forever. Uh,
yeah.
but
It
make
makes
sure
you
it's
feel connected too, right? Because you feel the same, like, oh, I felt that way before. I've had those problems. It like makes it easier.
absolutely. That's a good one. My first one for how to build relationships is just introduce yourself to people. Everybody is awkward about it, and just stick out your hand, smile, say hi. In my case, I would say Randall, but you use your name, and and I
Charles.
mean, that's the easiest way, and it works on multiple levels because one, you broke the ice, makes it easy. Two, very rarely is anyone going to turn down shaking your hand. I think I've had that happen once out of like 1,000 times, and the person was probably just having a really bad day, and
Yeah.
uh, and then also it's like the feature of reciprocity. Okay. So like by offering your name, they feel obligated to offer their name and engage in conversation with you.
Yeah, it's funny, people are, I think more now than ever, and it's probably a lot of reasons, but like, have a hard time starting conversations, have a hard time talking to people. But it's funny because most people want to talk to other people. They
Everybody's
don't want,
dying to.
yeah, they don't want to just sit on their phone. They'd rather have a conversation with a real person and just introducing yourself, starting that conversation. It might be hard, but if you do it a few times, you realize that almost everybody really wants that. And they'll be totally happy to communicate and talk with you and, enjoy the conversation. So it makes you feel better afterwards. And if you just try it out, you'll see, like, give it a few attempts. It's easy. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny. Everybody's very scared of that though. And
Oh, okay. So
oh,
quick thing. So I'm reading this book called Super Better. And she talks about gamifying everything. So I heard this concept that was freaking awesome about like somebody who was going into a meeting with a superior who was really nasty, and they were like really dreading it. And they're like, how can I not dread it? So they made a bingo card of all the worst possible things that could happen in there. And they're like, which thing, like he'll say this about me, he'll embarrass me, all these different things. And he made a bingo card out of it. And then he went in there, and instead of worrying about it, instead of taking it personally when the guy was like insulting him, he was just like mentally checking them off his bingo card. So like if you are scared about introducing yourself to people, like write down the worst things that could possibly happen and keep that bingo card in your back pocket. And then when it happens, check it off. Be like, okay, cool. Bingo.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. Gamifying is a good way to kind of help ease like the tension like in those situations too. It also makes it easier to kind of like motivate yourself to do things. That's a nice one. I like that. Is it mine? Second one?
I think it's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So number two for me for how to build relationships is don't overextend yourself. So focus on a few. This is particularly, I think, important when you're talking about like building good relationships or like really strong relationships. Like I think Aristotle said it really well when he talked about friendship was that like you can't maintain you can't have really good friendships with a ton of people. It just doesn't work. Think about how much time's involved. You have to like, get to know them, you have to spend time, you have to communicate, you have to like you inadvertently will know about their life, obviously, they'll know about your life. You can't manage that really well with a lot of people and, keep up to date with it in a way that a good friend would. So actually keeping that in mind, like, we have this tendency, I think, with social media, have like as many, likes, as many, friends as possible on there. And it's like that really isn't like gonna turn into good relationships though. Those are like associations at best, you know? If you want really good relationships, you have to spend time with people. So focus on a few, focus on the ones that matter and try to really build them.
Yeah. And that's a really good one, just focusing on a few. And also like don't overextend as in going out of your way
Yeah.
regularly to be friends with people. I made this mistake when I was younger is I had friends who I would always go out of my like I was always the one who was calling them to do whatever, who was going to meet them somewhere, like always. And then when I stopped doing it, they stopped meeting up. And I was like, what kind of garbage friend is that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So and it made life so much easier because then I was able to spend that time and find friends that are really good friends.
Yeah. Not just like convenience and stuff like that, which makes it, yeah, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. So my next one for how to build relationships, and again, this is kind of like a relationship starter type thing, but whenever you go into a social situation, consider that you are single-handedly qualified to solve everyone else's most pressing problem, which is their social awkwardness. Okay. And and you might be saying, oh, but I'm not really good. Well, just consider everybody thinks that they're not, I mean, except for a few people, everybody thinks they're not good socially. So if you just change that, be like, hey, I'm in the top 10% of social people just from knowing this fact alone. Be like, I'm in the top 10 people. And then you just introduce yourself like we spoke about. And if you want something to talk about, they say like the four most common things to talk about are spelt Ford, like Henry Ford, the creator of the automobile, Ford. Uh, so it's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And you just
Somebody
talk
always has
about
something to
those
say
things
about
with
all
people,
those. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they will love you. They will keep talking forever.
That's a good one too. And on that note too, like think about it too this way. If you do struggle with social awkwardness, which a lot of people do, that's the hardest thing is that barrier between like starting that conversation. So if you go up and start it, like they're gonna be thrilled because think of how you would feel if somebody came up and talked to you. You take away all that struggle and difficulty of starting the conversation. It's already started.
Dude, it's such a mind trip too, because I have this story that I'm not like I have a story that I'm not good socially. And so anytime I get into a social situation, I just make myself introduce myself to people. And I end up getting a reputation where I go as like the most socially friendly person ever because everyone knows me. But it's like I still have this story in my head that I just don't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're able to overcome it very easily just by saying hi,
Hmm.
right? And then everybody
Yeah,
knows who you are.
it's the easiest thing. You just stick out your hand and say hi. And if they
And
say
it's
no, okay, you go on to the
yeah,
next
it's
person.
also low stakes too, because they can just say hi back and that's it. Like no big deal.
Yep.
Nobody's hurt. That's a good one.
Hmm.
Um, my last one for how to build relationships is find others who enjoy what you enjoy. I mean, the reality is like, if you want to have friends and relationships, you need people that do what you do. So I think like one of the best, I mean, there's so many ways to find groups now, like people that enjoy photography that go out, whatever, or hiking, or like, whatever it is, movie, you can find people, pretty much groups that do anything in your area. So join them. It's a great way. You have people that already just like in, we were saying in school or college, right? We have like a community of people already built. You have that already built. Just go join them, and then you have people to talk about. You already know what to talk about. You have a topic that's already easy. Everybody likes that thing. It makes it super easy to do.
Yeah, and then like, you get to do the stuff that you love to do
Yeah,
with
yeah,
people
that too
you
is
enjoy
also a
spending
bonus.
time with. I mean, how awesome is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it helps a
that's a
lot.
great one. My last one is continually ask meaningful questions. So everybody wants to feel important. All right.
Yeah.
And for the most part, people love talking about themselves. So if you can satisfy those needs at the same time, just asking about people. And if you become interested in other people, people are going to be very interested in you. They're going to find you the most conversationally fluent person out there because you ask about them and they'll talk forever, but you get to find out more about them and then you ask more about things that are important to them, like actually listening when they're talking instead of trying to think of what you're going to say next. Just listening when they're talking, finding out what's important, that what they think is important, and then asking more about that.
It's funny. It's also a good mechanism for like if you have to talk to people at work and stuff. And like, I remember at work, like a lot of people, I mean, know a lot about their lives and they knew very little about me because they just all like talking. So I just ask questions and then it would, move the conversation along. I was good. But like, yeah, people love it. It's the easiest
Mm-hmm.
thing to do is just keep asking good questions about them and just listen and then follow up and just keep going. It's super
Mm-hmm.
simple. Yeah. So
There you
there
go.
you have it then. How to build relationships. There's some tips. Hopefully I'll help you guys out. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. Check us out on YouTube, wherever you get podcasts. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a review if you would like. That'd be really helpful on Apple Podcasts. We'll be back later this week with another quick fix for a full-length episode. Until then, though, later, Andy.
Later, Danny.